Right, how are you doing from wherever you're listening to 89.7 Contact FM? The show you're listening to is One on One. As usual, our Twitter hashtag for those who are commenting on Twitter is hashtag 101RW. Let's keep that conversation going on issues that we are talking about right in the program. My guest in the program is none other than Alphonse Nguranga.
Good morning.
Good morning, my friend. Yeah, there was a time you were asking, wondering, what is this one-on-one? 101.
I thought it is 101.
101.
Yeah.
And finally, you're here on the show. How are you feeling?
I'm fine.
You okay, eh?
It's not my first time
To be on air.
CFM.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm familiar with it.
You're familiar with the environment.
Colors.
Okay. So we're here to talk about the institution that you are the executive secretary, and that is the National Youth Council.
Yes.
The main aim of this particular show this morning is to finally understand properly the mandate of this institution. We have various bodies that, or institutions, or even individuals who we know are supposed to be dealing with issues concerning the youth. But we don't really understand fully what exactly are they supposed to do, or how exactly are they supposed to do that. So quickly make us or bring us to speed about what exactly your institution is mandated to do.
Thank you, Eugene, and thank you to CFM to give us this floor. The mandate of the National Youth Council is back in our constitution, the Rwandan constitution, in the Article 188, where it provides the existence of the National Youth Council as a public institution, as an institution to advocate for the youth.
To advocate for the youth.
For the youth.
When you say to advocate for the youth, what exactly do you mean?
This means the youth may face different challenges, different issues. They may have different issues, but those issues may be solved or may be handled by different institutions or by different organization. So the role of the National Youth Council is to be there like a watchdog, to advocate for the youth, to say, please work on this, work on this. There is an issue in this particular area regarding the youth. So it's not exactly a mission to solve it. It's a matter of showing
guidance
to the
policymakers on what they need to do on those areas. But then
in that advocacy, we also take part. We are involved because National
in finding solutions.
In policy making. The youth are consulted. The representatives are consulted in different areas, in different structures. I will talk about the structure of the
in a very short while. Yes. Now, talking of the advocacy role, there seems to be many people speaking for this person called the youth.
Yeah.
But still, that person called the youth continues to face a lot of challenges. And one of those challenges we've been singing day in, day out, and we'll continue singing this song until the day we'll hear that there is no youth unemployment in this particular country or region or whatever place we are in. Do you feel then there's a sense of a failure for these advocacy groups that we have? We have the youth members of parliament who are supposed to play the same role. We have the institution. We have the Ministry of Youth and ICT. Many institutions, many voices for this young person called the youth. But at the end of the day, do you feel that the solution is being found on some of these major problems facing these young people?
I will not say there is a failure. Rather, I will say there is still much to be done. Even the population or the people we are advocating for, you need to see also the percentage. The youth today are up to 39% of the Rwandan population. I will also say this: the level for the advocacy may be less than the wishes or the targets.
Why?
Let me, for example, if we talk about youth unemployment. Today, they have many initiatives to educate the youth. So today we have a big number of youth educated from 9 years basic education, 12 years basic education. There have been many youth initiatives about education, and for me, it is a matter of finding a balance between those who have undergone a big and intensive education system in some years back, which didn't go directly with the possibility, the availability of
the job
opportunities.
Exactly, and this is where yes,
I will say it's not about a lack of advocacy, but the balance between
who's supposed to bring that balance, because you say you guys are supposed to be the advocacy, the voice of these people. Who then is supposed to bring this balance?
It is not the day you advocate
that you get
exactly
the results.
You get the results.
So how long have you been advocating, and when are you anticipating for results?
Let me not say how long, but what is being done today. If, for example, the government has decided to put in the actual EDPLS 2, among its 4 pillars, there is the third one, productivity and youth employment. This means that the government is aware of the issue, is aware of the youth challenges of unemployment, and they have decided to put this pillar of productivity and youth
into the
EDPRS.
But when you say that, someone will ask a very quick question and say, are you the government's mouthpiece? Are you the government's spokespeople? Because at the end of the day, we have young people who feel that maybe the government is not doing enough. But when they hear you saying that most of the time that the government has done this, we have institution ABC that is being run by government to do this, then they question, what then have you done personally as an institution that you say is mandated constitutionally to advocate for their rights?
Yes, our law, as I said, we try to be involved in many government programs so that what is decided or what is being thought, we take part, rather than being aside and wait for some mistakes or some failures. For us, we think the best way to advocate is to start early in the early stages. We have been consulted in the design of the EDPLS. The youth have been consulted in different districts. National Youth Council have been consulted in the design of the EDPLS too. I think our first law, if we are given a platform in the early stage of any policy making process, it's a big deal.
This early stage, this opportunity that you're asking for, is it given or you ask for it, or
both.
Is it's both?
Yeah.
So give me instances where you have been either invited in or instances where you have asked to be involved.
For example, this EDPRS I was mentioning, we have been asked to take part this ongoing national employment program. We have been involved. We have been asked to take part as we have a lot of youth mobilization. To take part in the many facets, many components of the national employment program. The other thing, if the national youth policy, we have asked to be part.
You're the ones who have asked to be part of
that. There is a process of renewing the actual, the current national youth policy.
So what exactly are you doing there on the table while you're there? Yes.
We try to see if the policy of or if the program being designed will come to solve or to put some solutions to the youth issues.
Are they coming to solve?
It's our hope, because when a policy is being designed, you will not see the results are exactly there.
Should you say it's your hope, or should you say it is what we want?
It's what we want, and you need to have hope. Otherwise, you will not subsist if you don't have a hope. If you table a topic, if you table your issues, if you table challenges, and on the other side, you see you can have future solutions on the other side. So what you need is to have hope, but the other thing is to take part. Our mission as the National Youth Council is also to mobilize the youth.
Okay.
To take part in the in the implementation process. So they are not only to show the challenges. They are not only there to ask for solutions. They are also part of the solutions. If we say today they are 39% of the total population, and they are the active, they are the intellectual, they are the one who are educated. Definitely, they need to take part in the solution part of it.
Okay.
So it's also a matter of mobilizing the youth.
Talking on the issue, still remaining on the issue of the mobilizing part. In other countries where we've seen some political skirmishes or violence, we've also heard of the role that institutions like yours usually play in terms of mobilizing the youth for political purposes. To
take part in violence,
either take part in violence or to mobilize them and bring them to vote for particular kind of candidates. This is what happens in some other countries. Now, in this particular case, would you say it's different here in terms of mobilizing part to vote during elections? Do you think your institution sometimes falls under pressure to play a role in mobilize the youth to vote for party A, B, C, D?
Normally, we don't mobilize the youth to vote for particular parties. It's clear if you look in our mission, the law establishing the National Youth Council. Someone will say if it is constitutional, if it is established by law, it is affiliated to a certain political party. No, it is for the Rwandan youth. What we do during the elections, we mobilize the youth to take part in the elections. We mobilize them to have the possible big number, the possible participation of the youth. That is our mission. As it is asked to any citizen, we want the youth to participate. We want them to vote for who they want.
Okay.
But we don't mobilize the youth to take a side in a particular political party. It is on each one's choice, but it is not our mission. We try to be, and we are asked to be as much as possible impartial. We try to be neutral. It is our mission. So it is different. And the background of the establishment of this National Youth Council is back in our history, where the youth is all known have participated in the genocide against the Tutsi. So our mission today is to try to stop any kind of violence from the youth.
Okay.
Rather thinking we are here to mobilize the youth to commit violence.
All right. Now let's talk about the issue of involvement. This is a question I asked a couple of people always coming here who are saying that their work is to do what you do, the advocacy part. But the question is the public involvement of young people, of the youth in all your initiatives, in all that you do, even in terms of the positions at your institution. How much of involvement is being done there for the young people to own these processes that you do?
To own the process. The other of our mission in this kind of involvement, the also mobilization.
How are you doing it? How are you doing it?
What are you doing?
Yes. Or how are you even doing it? Yes.
This National Youth Council structure, starting on the cell levels, gives platform to the youth to participate jointly with the local government, the local leaders. If I take an example, at the sector level, where we have the sector council, this we call Njanama, the youth have a chunk in that Njanama. They have three seats in the local council. It is the same at the district level. They are full member of the district councils. So in that process, they have been, if you today you try to make an assessment, many of them are head of commissions in the district councils. So they take part in the decisions that are made at the district level. You know, the role of the district council is the decision position, the decision organ of the district. So in this kind, they already take part, or on the other side, they are being trained to be the future leaders, even they are today leaders.
Okay.
So we are involved.
Okay.
Someone at the district will not say this decision have been taken
by Alphonse.
By Alphonse. No, it is by the Njanama, by the district council.
Okay.
So he's part of it.
So still remaining on the involvement part, I would like you to explain to us on the issue of your targeted people, on your advocacy, or when you are doing your advocacy. You know, youth is a big one, and it's a very extensive kind of word. But in there is the breakdown of youth from where, youth from definitely which age are they, the youngest youth or the oldest youth, because it depends. But so who do you immediately target in all the things you do?
I think you were also yourself saying it. Yeah. We can differentiate by ages. Yes. Or the other side, we differentiate by social categories, unemployed youth. If it is also, we can differentiate according the area of advocacy. If we talk about health, we know there is a category of the youth that may be more affected by than the other one. If it is about unemployment, if we
so it's a wide scope. You target a wide scope of young people.
Yeah, we target a wide scope. We try to categorize.
Okay.
Because if it is in economic issues, there are some categories. If it is health issues, there are some other categories.
Why is it that I always have a certain feeling that when we talk of youth, especially when we're dealing with institutions like the National Youth Council or the youth members of parliament, there's always a feeling of our programs are targeting those in the grassroots level. This is the feeling that comes out, and it begs the question: doesn't that urban youth need your advocacy as well? And if they do, how are you handling their issues?
I think it is a misconception if someone's think we only advocate or we only deal with the people in the
grassroots level.
The grassroots of the rural area. It's not. As I said, if we have the representative of the youth, they are all in rural and urban areas. And if we try to categorize, as I was saying, we already know the issues of the youth in urban areas.
What are their issues? What do you understand?
There are many issues like unemployment, and we today it's up to 10%, comparing to the national percentage of unemployment rate. So we already know they have their own issues of unemployment. They face some issues to settle in this city, which is becoming big. But they also face some drug abuse and alcohol.
So in these three things, what is the voice of the National Youth Council in trying to advocate for them? Yes, what have you said? What have you done? Yes. What measures have you taken?
You already know some, for example, some decision who can come to face the youth with their small activities. Sometimes there are decisions who are made with district authorities or the city of Kigali.
This is by the city, but how about by the National Youth Council?
Yes, but our law is first to work with this leadership of the city of Kigali to find solutions about youth unemployment.
So what you're saying is it's not possible, or there's no instance when the National Youth Council comes out as a body and says support? This is what exactly, yes, as a council.
I was about to say that in our we don't have the only mandate to advocate. We also put apart a certain budget of our own. We collect from the government, from the different donors to support youth initiative.
This year, how many projects have you supported under the budget?
I will say the last year, because
the last year
we have supported about up to 15 projects. 15 projects. On average, every year we try to have a 30% budget of our budget to support the youth initiatives.
How do people also benefit from this budget? How do they get to be beneficiaries?
We normally make a call, an official call for all the youth, but we prioritize the youth companies and the youth cooperatives, because there we know at least many people will benefit instead of benefiting individual projects, unless we make an exception for artistic and music. I'm sorry. We make an exception for artistic and music activities, because this you cannot put people together when they have different styles. But as I was saying, we make a public call for youth projects, youth initiatives. They deposit on our office from the district, from different channels, from youth organizations. So we have a committee to analyze those projects and to decide on which project will be supported this year, and which project we could give advice to improve the content, because some people will come just because they have had an announcement, a public call, without really a convincing content. So this is how we try to do it. But on the other side, there are every year up to 15 projects we support to participate in the national exhibition. This we call Expo Rwanda.
Yeah.
That's the other part.
Yes. Now, in closing, in final remarks now, what would you say to the people who feel that institutions like yours are just dormant and we don't know about them? We haven't even heard about this fund that they're saying they support the youth with. How can you defend yourself on such statements?
Okay. First of all, I will not say we need them to show or to contribute to our activity. We cannot work alone as an institution. We need the voice of the youth. Where they see we are not fitting well, it is definitely their right to say it, to come to us. But on the other side, I will say we are not dormant. Maybe we are not doing or we are not matching on their wishes.
But they would say hot is hot and cold is cold. So if
sure,
it's dormant, it's dormant. Yes.
So we tell them we'll make our effort. We try to reach their locations, try to meet them to discuss, because definitely what we do is what is from the youth, from their wishes, from what they want us to advocate for.
Okay. Alphonse, thank you so much for being on One-on-One. It's definitely a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
All right. There you have it. One-on-One comes to an end at this particular time. But from the conversation that we've had in the program, do feel free to keep the conversation going on Twitter. The hashtag is 101RW. The Kinyarwanda version is coming up in a very short while. My name is Eugene Anangwe. Goodbye.